Declan from Wide Format Solutions. So you've come all the way from Ireland today. Well, you came yesterday.
Yeah.
We're here to talk to us today.
I wouldn't say all the way, just across the ponds.
Well, I'll try
Yeah.
and jazz it up a little bit.
Yeah. 16 years, I think we've been here last.
16 years
Yeah.
since coming over to Graphtec.
To Graphtec, yeah. On my first bit of training.
First bit of training
Yeah.
back then. What machines were
I
they on?
came over to have a look at the scanners that you've done.
Scanners.
Scanners, you were doing a bunch of scanners. I was here with like Phil and all that.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, some of the staff changed, it's all got younger. But yeah.
Better looking.
Makeup on, that's all.
Well, yeah.
Younger, better looking.
Well, that's a matter of opinion.
Thanks.
Yeah.
So Declan is from the company Wide Format Solutions.
Yeah.
And you cover all of Ireland, but you...
The whole of Ireland, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you're one of our resellers, aren't you, for all
Yeah.
Graphtec equipment?
Service, repair and sales and anything else they want me to do when I'm in fixing them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I get a good coverage because I do a range of other equipment. So it's not just that, and I complement them. So I find the Graphtec able to slot in and work with other manufacturers more so than any other brand can. For me, it's good business because I can put it in with different manufacturers of printers where they have to say, you have to use this version with that version. I go, have you got Corel? Have you got Adobe? Have a Graphtec and your print and cut and your all works well. And I guarantee it.
Excellent. Well, we've got a couple of icebreaker questions for you. Just three. Just three. Nothing to be nervous about. So first one, tea or coffee?
Tea, Lyons is tea. Gold blend.
Excellent.
Really? I like the Yorkshire tea. I love Yorkshire tea.
Normal Yorkshire or Yorkshire Gold?
Not really. I don't really think I've had gold much. I've had once in my life.
Just Yorkshire?
Yeah.
At least it's not Earl Grey.
Yeah. Or PG.
Second question. First app you open on your phone in the morning?
After breakfast, I look at email. That's it.
So you don't go on your phone before that?
No, I have all notifications knocked off. I only use probably WhatsApp within families or within a couple of groups, and I try not to use them because I have to be positive. I'm looking at some social medias at first thing in the morning before your coffee or your tea or your porridge can kind of drag you down.
Yeah.
So I just kind of make a conscious decision not to.
Yeah.
You know, even if the phone rings, no, not yet. Now, mind you, breakfast could be 6 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
So it depends.
Yeah.
And then the third question, which I ran these by you before, but I've decided to change it last minute.
Oh,
good, because I changed my answer.
Ooh.
So the third question is not two, three. Are you? I say, are you? Would you prefer to answer a WhatsApp message or speak to someone on the phone?
Speak to someone on the phone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that.
And I listened to the debate the other day about people are using WhatsApps, the voice messages.
I was going to say, do you use voice?
And the reason they're doing that is because if you read any text message, and if I ask you a question, are you going out tonight? And you go, no, on a message, depending on my humour, I will read that. No, what does he mean? No, or
bad
I mean,
punctuation can kill a friendship.
Yes, where if you actually talk to someone, you can hear the tone of their voice, and it's just more. So I think that's why the voice messages are talking to someone, and it also goes for businesses. I'm not into the robotic. Press 1 for this, press 2 for that. I like to just ring, speak to the person, and know I'm getting that personal effect.
Yeah.
So definitely, a phone call.
That's good. Yeah. I think it's quite difficult in 2022 to have that relationship. Like my job for Graphtec is everything digital.
Yeah.
All websites, everything that we do online is pretty much my job. But I still hold fast to the building relationships with people, especially when you're talking about products and things like that. Pick up a phone and speak to somebody. You can build a lot better relationship, in my opinion, when you speak to somebody. There's a certain amount of information you can get from a website.
Absolutely.
But that understanding, that's why the podcast exists, because you want to talk to people.
Well, it's just like meeting people years ago, a handshake. You know, I mean, I was taught my father how to give a handshake. Good firm handshake, give him about 2 seconds in the eye. And, you know, I mean, it was just the mark of a man or a woman, you know, I mean. Now it's, you know, I mean, you get a little thumbs up, you know, I mean, on a message. It doesn't mean anything.
Fist bump since COVID.
Yeah,
yeah, the elbow.
Like the poor fella, like the poor fella in the quicksand, he puts his hand out. Sorry, I'm all to do fist bumps.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes it works.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
No, handshake and a look in the eye.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's like a phone call. It can speak volumes. You know, picture tells 1,000 words.
Yeah, it does. So do you get a chance to come over to the UK? Do you have reason to come over to the UK much? Like, do you come over to trade shows and things? Because this is the first time we've met in person.
Yeah.
We've spoken on the phone loads, but not a chance to meet.
I done the Sign UK shows a few times, and then I pulled back a couple of years before COVID. Just says I won't, because my thing is I'm as White Pharma Innovations trading as White Pharma Solutions for the last 3 years. I was in business with other individuals then for 10 years. Um, I just found the trade shows were one to customers, where I wanted to deal with the dealers and the end jokes. So if I got the red eye flight over, I'd come on and I'd meet Ellen and yourself for 5 minutes because you had so many other people coming at you.
A lot going on.
And
Yeah.
then I'm kind of walking around, and there was other things I didn't want to see. So Birmingham was a lovely city, but I just find going to the likes of Amsterdam, the bigger trade shows were more beneficial for me. But a lot of the time you land at them and then you stand there, you do your bit of business, you kind of go, I just want to go home. I'm sure you have done hundreds of them, and it's hard slog on anyone that does them.
2:30 on day 3 is always the kind of limit
You've got no more energy left.
Yeah,
You
Yeah,
just
it's,
try
you know, I
and
mean,
get through
because
it.
you just have to stay positive all the time, no matter who comes up, and a good salesperson, anyone, yeah, who is this? This is Michael from such and such a company. Yeah, you have to be able to, you know, what I mean, a little bit personal. You can't expect to know hundreds of names and hundreds of different companies. And do you remember this person from 2 years ago? That's hard. So for me coming over yesterday was a meet and greet, looking at the laser machines, looking at Graphtec, getting to know you again, and just building on the relationship again. You know what I mean? Because you have to do it. I wouldn't get a chance to do it at Sign UK.
No.
You know what I mean? Or any other trade shows, but yeah, I did. I couldn't last night. It's also beneficial.
What was the last trade show that you went to then?
I went to Amsterdam last year,
Yeah.
middle of COVID.
What show was that?
It wasn't Drooper. Oh, Fuzzy Rain. So, what's your Droop and
Wasn't Vesper.
Vesper? Yeah,
Was it Vesper in Amsterdam?
Vesper. Yeah,
Oh, okay. I thought Vesper was only in Germany.
yeah. After the first 2 hours, that was it. I shouldn't have booked 2 days.
No.
It was awkward because you had the COVID test going in,
Yeah.
and everyone walking around with masks. It was warm. It was very well run, but it's not for everyone. You know, when you a lot of the customers go have they they're going to buy specific machines. They know what they're going over. I was going over the same way. I went over to meet and greet. I met fellas I hadn't seen in years, and it was just to say, listen, I'm still alive. I haven't passed away, and I'm trying to promote the company that I'm with. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm still here. Can I do your products? What can I do to help you and all this? And I bumped into a lot of customers there, which was good. Oh, so that's always good fun. Drank a lot of coffee.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But
For a tea drinker. I'd like
over there, don't drink tea. They
No.
just don't know how to make it. You know,
No, that's true. Got to
You know
do
what I mean?
coffee when you're on the continent.
you know what I mean?
So, like, you're, I'd say, a very personable person, and going back to building relationships, obviously the handshake and that type of thing. The whole mask wearing thing with COVID was such a difficult thing to get around. I couldn't imagine it being like when we did Science Digital this year. We had a couple of people still came on the stand wearing a mask. It's so hard to gauge people's interest when you're talking to someone you can't see their face. All you can see is
Absolutely,
their eyes.
absolutely. It's the facial expression tells a lot, you know. So dealing with masks, like everyone has their own personal health issues, so someone will still wear masks.
Yeah,
Um, Shy people will wear masks to kind of be a bit standoffish, but wearing masks was awkward for everyone.
Yeah.
And but you're not just doing it for them; you're doing it more for yourself.
yeah,
And if I found if you changed the mask, you know, it didn't tickle your nose, didn't scratch your ears and all that. But it's personal choice as much as you've been told by the governments wear them and do it this. I done it for my own personal reasons, and I'll still do it.
yeah.
And it's like we were taught how to wash your hands years ago.
Mm.
Well, I was, you know, a clip in the air. You're not doing your hands right, and I still know how to wash my hands. I didn't need a sign when I walk into a toilet telling me how to wash your hands.
Yeah.
But yeah, to get the measure of someone, masks was always awkward. You know what I mean? You had to do a lot of eyeballing.
Yeah, definitely. So, what's the changing the subject completely now? What's the industry like over in Ireland right now? How are things?
The industry's good.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean? Like since I've been back out on my own 3 years, it's been year on year getting better and better. Maybe it's me getting more confidence, but I got a lull in June. I think everybody got a lull, and then it's picking up, and then July, and it's starting to. The momentum is getting in. You see that with all kinds of equipment, not just Graphtec, whether it be printers or laminators. Um, Everyone seems to be holding off because they're all expecting this big recession or big hit. I can't see it coming. You know, there's lots of talk about it. We're talking about meant to be a recession in America, but they've just added so many jobs to it. You know what I mean? The price of petrol and diesel is starting to fall. So I these big companies tell us that things are going to happen, but I just think the people are kind of go, nah, we're not spending on credit cards, we're spending money we have now. And companies, they need good equipment. And they're saying, well, it's not you. If you buy a plot, if I sell you a Graphtec, it's not just a machine, it's a new employee you have. You know what I mean? My problem with Graphtec, and I was saying it to Phil yesterday, was that just made them bulletproof. They just keep going. A 20-year-old machine, you need a new one. It's still working. So that in the industry, it's getting harder to convince people. You need to invest. You need to invest. Now it's easy for me to say it if you have the money, but yeah, I help customers from the biggest sign maker to the smallest sign maker or graphic houses. They all have a need, and it's once they get it, they see the benefits.
What machines do you see like you sell the most of then? Is it like a certain, obviously roll fed machines is probably the biggest hardware that you sell?
Printer wise, I sell all
Yeah.
brands, I buy and sell them, but as Graphtecs, I sold an awful lot. I like selling the Graphtecs.
Mhm.
I like to be able to marry up other manufacturers where you're told you can't do that. Don't tell someone you can't do it, because this industry is you're only as good as your imagination. It's like looking at the laser machines. You know what I mean? What's the what's the hardest thing you can do? And you have to find out. You know, a lot of samples. I don't know. Can I cut that? Let's put it in and find out. You know, there's a big learning curve, and if you're willing to learn, it's industry is there for you. You know, everyone's that boy spoke. The new buzzword is boy spoke. It's
Yeah.
I'm the only one with it. And okay, well, let's make it something new.
Mm.
Mm.
No, but industry wise, it's 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 there, and it's getting busier and busier.
What's
You
your
know,
most common Graphtec machine then over in
CE 7130.
130.
130, yeah.
Yeah.
54 inch. Well, look, dealing with a lot of printers is standard all be 54 inches. As I say to someone, you get the argument with them, oh, I want a 64 inches. I say, do that. Put their arms out. There's 54 inches. If you're applying that, it's 54 inches. 64 inches, you need two people. Most laminators are 54 inches. Most printers are 54 inches. So if you buy a 64 inch, you know what I mean?
Mm.
What benefits is it?
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Where you get the other individual that has a 64-inch printer, he's a 64-inch laminator, then you buy a 1600.
Yeah.
But they still have the limitations of holding a roll.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like people think, oh, load a roll. Rolls are 22 kilos. It's, you know, the long, the heavy, a lot of manual lifting on them. When you take it off, you laminate it, you're adding to the weight, there's air in it. You put it on the back of a plotter then, and you expect that plotter to cut down to a quarter of a mil accurately. You know what I mean? So you do need to set it up, get your parameters right, slow it down, and give it the best possible chance. Because the old rule is measure twice, cut once.
Yeah.
You know, but, yeah.
I try
Graphtec,
that. Sometimes it doesn't work when I'm doing DIY, but I do try and do
DIY.
DIY at home.
The hell?
yeah.
Measure twice, cut once, and cut the wrong side of the wrong side of the piece of two before.
Well, if you have a manager like mine always looking over your shoulder, you just get it right all the time. Yeah, yeah. There's no getting it wrong. You know, it can be very costly getting it wrong.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true.
You know,
So yeah, you've come over to obviously see us
Yeah.
and have a look at all the new equipment that we've got. So obviously you've been selling the C7000s, the FC9000s. So it's actually having a few of them here in our demonstration room, and also looked at the laser machines as well.
yeah, impressive.
Yeah,
Very impressed with them.
It's the first time we've seen the wood
in
innovation stuff,
flesh.
isn't it?
Yeah,
I've seen them online. You know, what I mean, with the links that you have. But sometimes I'm one of the practical people that want to just come over, put my hands on it,
real
get a
feel
feel
for
for
it.
it, bit of
Yeah.
chunkiness. You know what I mean? Like one of the questions was, I was impressed that you could split it into three and wheel in a normal door.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Because a lot of people is say, you know, oh, I want that machine in here. Normal doors are 33 inches. The practicalities of can I get it through that door? Now that I know, yeah, you can split it into three and bring it in
Hmm.
and lob it back up. Yes, it has loads of benefits. Limitations of it, I don't think there's any. You know, when you pick the power and you put your substrate on and off you go.
We obviously, being the distributor from this side of the table, the perception would be from people listening, people who are looking to buy machines, that we would be biased to say yes, they are. Of course, we're never going to say they're bad machines or they're lackluster in their quality and things like that, because obviously that's bad business on our behalf. But from what you've seen over the past couple of days, what do you think about build quality? What you're seeing from the machines, from someone who's literally just walked in and seen them for the flesh? What's your first kind of inclinations to them?
If you go back to what I said about the plotter's been 20 years old and they're bulletproof and they still won't break. Like you change a tube, you do your general maintenance. I'm in the breakdown business. You need them to break down. I can't, like, it's a laser machine. They're as good as the user.
Yeah.
And if you maintain your general maintenance, they will go and go and go and see you into retirement.
Is there a big call over in Ireland for the lake? There's a very big market for lasers in the UK, and there's a lot of brands in the UK
Yeah.
doing lasers. So what's the kind of market over in Ireland for?
I'm probably a bit slow out of the blocks with the laser machines. I know an awful lot of companies that have them, whether it be from Czech ones, Chinese, other manufacturers. And I was kind of looking around, and I didn't even realize at one stage you were doing them. And I kind of went, hang on, I'm already dealing with this. Do you know, I need to get my finger out and move them, because now I'm being asked by my customers, do you have laser machines? And now, yeah, actually, yeah, I do. So for me, being here was just to build my confidence, so I can be more confident in front of them, and the bit of training is going to help.
Have they all got when they're asking you, are you able to do lasers? Have they all got the same need for them, same kind of output, or
How
is
long is
it like
how long is a piece of string?
yeah? One thing is, it's like sign shops who've got they've been making acrylic signs. They've got leftover bits of acrylic from their CNC or routing machines, and they want to make more smaller bespoke stuff. So looking to
A
use
lot
all
of
the
them,
scrap.
they're trying to sell the idea to their customers, whether it be display companies, you know what I mean, advertising companies, that they're looking for intricate stuff to sell to their customers. And it gives you that precise accuracy that you don't get. Little displays where you can make a Christmas tree out of a bit of acrylic. You know what I mean? They're nice. Like, I remember dealing with a wine company years ago back in Dublin, and in June they started doing their wine, and they were scorching onto the top of the wood the logo of the company and Happy Christmas. And I could never understand this. And they throw 2 bottles of wine in. That was it. Was all done on lasers. And I was like that was a couple of years ago, but they had the prep and the lasers were so slow. What are you going to see in 5 years? A more powerful laser to cut into more things. If you go into any industry, whether it be engineering, they have water jets. You know, I mean, now they're using lasers to cut steel, whether it be alloys. The technology has been there for such a long time, but the price of the equipment is after dropping dramatically to allow the general sign maker or hobbyist use them now.
Yeah,
Hope that answers your question.
no, definitely. What it's just interesting to know what the kind of as it because you're a reseller, obviously maintenance engineer for the Graphtec machines. It's interesting to get your input on where you think there's a market as well for these from obviously the customers that you're speaking to out on the road all the
I
time.
have a request, and the biggest request you get on a laser is, I know Ellen would say, you know, I mean, the first thing to say to you is, actually, what size bed do you want? What kind of substrates are you going to put on it? Because a lot of times that can determine what level you're at.
Yeah.
And it's not the size of the company. Don't drive into the company, oh, they're going to buy the biggest and the most powerful one. It doesn't always work that way, because they're a bit hands-on in the sense that you have to stand over them, because you're actually using it later, and you have the possibility of your substrate flaring up and burning. I've seen older laser machines, as in burnt holes in the wall, you know what I mean, or burnt
Really?
out units, because
Yeah.
they were putting substrates on it and just expecting to press cut and walk away from it. It's not like that. It's a bit like a laminate. You have to stand over it, watch it. You know what I mean? A little bit of babysitting in it, but when you take the finished product out, it's sublime.
Yeah. What have you had a look at the laminator as well since you've been here?
I did. I was out crawling over it when I was on the phone.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because obviously that size of laminator ties in with the 130s and obviously
Yeah.
160 machines that we do as well. So I was just didn't know if I'd actually got around to looking at or you're looking at something that you're going to be looking at later before you fly back to Ireland.
I'll have a peek at it, crawl over it, pros and cons of it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, even if I don't specifically push, because there's bunches of laminators, and I deal with a lot of suppliers back in Ireland, and I will look after their maintenance. So for me to take a brand on and say, well, I'm going to do mine, I'm cutting my nose off to spite my face, where they're already selling the product and they're using me for their installations and maintenance. So I don't want to start suddenly trying to compete with them. I don't sell suppliers, so a lot of the big suppliers will use me for their installations, whether it be rollover tables, laminators, finishing equipment. And, you know, I've even done installation for printers for them, because their own engineers are done. So for me to suddenly start going, I have another laminator here on the market, just to upset you all, I don't want to do that. But if the need arises, it's an opportunity, you know what I mean? Like, all the ones that's in the market, you always get the customer, I don't want to deal with them. I don't want to deal with them. And I go, yes, I actually have one for you. And no, nobody else is doing it. There you go.
Yeah. No, it's a nice machine, isn't it? The
Yeah, it is good. Nice and smooth.
It's
Yeah.
it's more than just a laminator though, isn't it? Because there's three functions technically on that particular laminator, because you obviously can use it as a laminator.
Yeah.
It's got slitting blades out the back,
Yeah.
so you can slit on the X axis,
Yeah.
and Now, whether you choose to do this or not, because obviously rollover machines are massively popular now for applicating printed media onto boards and things like that. But back in the day when I was a sign maker, we used to use our laminator. We used to put the printed media on the laminator and use it to apply onto die bond correct
Onto
boards.
mountain, yeah.
Yeah, just mounting
Yeah.
media on like that. So you can
It's
use
still
it.
common practice.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people with the rollover tables, they wouldn't have the physical space. So then they'd want it, you know, I mean, they have to have a way of doing it. And if you put a sheet of die bond onto it, every customer has their own way of doing it. Someone put it halfway in, clamp it down, and peel it back. And if some laminators will only go way, there's only a forward on them. But so you have to have it both ways. But you can tie a machine up like that. You're using it for a couple of different features because if you're mounting, first thing you're going to do is laminate, then you're going to use it again for the same process. Hence, if you're doing a lot of them, if you're doing 20, 30 sheets a week, they will recommend that you buy a flatbed printer. So you're not doing that. So you have a level of a cut-off. Where do you go? But having a machine that has a slither on it and you can use it for the other functions and it's well priced, it's well built, there's always an opening for it.
Excellent. Obviously, you know where to come if you have need for that one. But obviously, as you say, you've already got people that you're working with for those laminators at the moment.
It's like me. I made a conscious decision not to be selling media suppliers because they're all media suppliers, and all I'm doing is competing to lose business.
Yeah.
I get enough business out of them, trade work with my own stuff and word of mouth. So I just consciously I don't, and then there's no conflict. I'm a bit like the UN.
So how long have you actually been in the industry for then? Because you mentioned you've been on your own for 3 years, was it?
Nearly 30 years
Yeah.
in the industry.
Yeah.
Still here. Should get a gold medal for that.
You should really.
Like an Olympian.
Where did you start? What part of the industry did you start in?
I came, it was a long time ago. I was a barman, actually running a few pubs, and at the time, pub started at 10, finished at 12. I wanted out, so I went back to college and I done basic office equipment. From there, 7 years in a workshop doing photocopiers, and it was changing from analog to digital. And a lot of the lads I worked with left and went off and set up a company. And the first wide format printers were old NCADs. You remember them? Aquarius inks, and we done them. And then I went and joined them, and then spent a lot of time over in Belgium, Barcelona, doing different training courses. Made redundant, went out on my own for 8 years, back into business with two fellas for 10 years, and back out on my own. And I like to think I built up a lot of knowledge in that time. Hopefully, it's beneficial to me. But I think the bar trade taught me how to talk.
Yeah.
Sometimes I never shut up.
I worked in a pub.
Yeah.
And I found that having just the conversations that you'd have with people across the bar.
Yeah.
When you get into moving to like a sales role, you're already used to being able to talk to people.
Not shy in talking. We talk too much sometimes.
Yeah.
And we go from the topic we're asked into a completely different topic. But it's nice. You put people at ease then when you're talking to them, whether it be a demoing the machine or fixing the machine. You can be there with a screwdriver in your hand and ask them how the family are, what they done the weekend, or what else, other problems on the machine. It's good. I enjoy it. But 30 years, definitely an Olympian at this game now. And I know there's guys in it longer, you know. So if for an engineer to be in it that long, and I know I've kind of morphed into semi-sales, I do a bit of everything that counts. Where I see sales going up, but sales guys that's in it longer than I am, and they are the true limits. To be a sales guy in the same industry and still there, it's you know, I mean, tip your hat to. No, it's like it's hard. It's you know, I mean, they have figures to achieve all the time.
Yeah.
So Declan, you help us out, don't you, in Ireland? So if we have some servicing requirements, I haven't got an engineer available to go out to Ireland to do, you cover that for us, don't you?
Absolutely, yeah.
So could you just enlighten everybody on what when you go out, what type of jobs are you doing on the plots and things like that when you going out?
I've done a couple of installs for you over there to save you some flying fellas over. Breakdowns, I have to say, few and far between. I would like more of them, but just don't break down because, like,
I slip with my screwdriver.
Yeah, it's like everyone seems to forget a product works on XY axis. It's two motors. And that step motors. They can be very very accurate. You know what I mean? So not much goes wrong with them. A lot of the times, a little bit of handhold with the end user, showing them bits of software. The biggest issue you would have now would be integrating bits of software. So you have a designers would be using, I don't know, Corel, Adobe, Flexi. I know you do Flexi. Someone would use the competitor software. Someone would use something that I've just downloaded, a bit of a hacker. It's on an old PC, and it's putting it in with the new PCs. It's getting that level. We don't have that driver to match this, so then you might have to use an older driver. And in fairness, the Graphtec older drivers seem to still work with the newer models, and it's kind of using your get out jail free card. I would like more of them to break down, so then you can give me a bit more work. That's that being said.
Let's see what we can sort out there. I'm not sure how we can sort that
Yeah,
out.
no, because like even the installations that we done, it wasn't that used directly sold into Ireland. It was multinationals that's in the UK wanted units in their Irish parts. They're the ones I pick up on.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So it's not. In fairness, you just don't sell into the territory. You just leave it to your resellers. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and I appreciate the work.
No, that's our resellers are, well, be all and end all for us, really, aren't they?
Yeah, that's what we work with. Yeah.
I know what deadly we are,
Yeah.
aren't we, guys?
Do you remember what your first install was? Graphtec machine.
Yeah, C 5000.
C5000.
Yeah.
Was that to a sign shop?
Yeah, I think it was a sign shop. Yeah, it was a sign shop.
Yeah.
I won't mention them. And it's actually, I believe it was still going.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That machine's still going.
yeah. There's
Doesn't
the way it
surprise
was
me.
installed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sublime.
Top notch.
Doesn't
Like,
surprise me though.
you walk into any customer now. I walk into customers where I'm setting up, no matter what I'm fixing for them. You look up in the top shelf in the corner, there's always a small plotter, whether it be a Graphtec or another brand. And what is that plotter doing up there? That's me get out of jail. It's the stable of any sign maker is the plotter. And
Yeah.
they always keep their old one, even if they've upgraded, up on the top shelf.
Just
You know
in
what I mean?
case.
Because it never let them down. That's that get out of jail free card.
Yeah.
If the place burns down, the fella can still run on that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You can run a sign shop with a plotter. You can't run it with anything else.
That's true. Yeah. Princes. Well, so what if you're the print side of what you're doing?
Yeah.
You said before that it's 54 inches is your.
It'd be I would consider it industry standard. Like you can go into the super wide format, the 2 meters, 5 meter machines. They all work on the same principle.
Yeah.
And like, you know, I mean, from the desktop to a 5 meter machine, five principle. Standard to me would be 54 inches because a fella's arms is approximately 54 inches. Realistically, you know, what I mean, the bigger they are, the heavier they're all. You ask any of the media suppliers, like you can look at any of them, it's always a 54-inch roll. You know what I mean? No matter what way you slice or dice it, when you come to a plotter, you can buy your 2 foot rolls, your 3 foot rolls, because they're specific, that high premium stuff for vinyl cutting. When you go into your print and cut, it's always a 54-inch. And people know when you put a roll onto a printer, you print with your laminator with your laminators, you can only cut within 20 mil of either side, with inside the pinch rolls.
Yeah.
That's the same, you know, the same principles to allow movement. And they're aware that you will lose 2 inches, so they're really only printing 52 inches. You get the greedy ones. Oh, well, I want a 64-inch, but if you have a 64-inch printer, I guarantee you they'll probably have a 54-inch laminator. So it's you have to buy everything precise.
Yeah. To be honest, the FC 160s at the minute, the biggest industry they're going into, as we alluded to in a recent podcast, is PPF and detail, isn't it?
Yeah.
Have you done many installs for like people doing detailing with cars and
A few of them, I actually have one guy. He's pending at the moment. He's doing his training. He wants to purchase the FC, but I spoke to him there in June, and he said to me, "I just need to do the training. I just need to do the training. Fine, I'll be back to you then." And I've done a couple around Cork and Drogheda. You know what I mean? I have surprised. I've done some funny installs for some funny individuals. I've 1 month, May, it was all stonemasons. One stonemason ringing me stonemasons. I was out the doors of one of a few of them. I was like, my name must be good in the stonemason. And then the next month it was I sold the CE to an artist. He came back to me 2 weeks later. He says, "That's the wrong machine." He upgraded to an FC just to have the pounce tool.
Right.
And I had to know why he wanted a pounce tool. I was telling Ella, is because the pounce tool, because you can chalk a wall
Yeah.
and use it as an artist. And from him, then he fed me into 3 or 4 other places. And my last install, when I was on the holidays, I put it into an artist's house, and it's in a studio now. For the artist is making replicas of his own artwork.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So I was kind of, now I'm into the artist industry. So there's so many different angles,
varied,
and
yeah.
they were nothing to do with the sign industry.
No.
None of them.
Now we find this with like the craft machines. They've almost pigeonholed themselves because they get referred to as craft machines, but you can do so much more with them.
Yeah.
They're full on. If you're any type of creative, you want to create things, any artwork, t-shirts, signage, 3D models, everything's cut.
Yeah. You You look at it, if you have a couple of kids, I one individual has a silhouette, couple of kids, and she got it, and she does her own labels for her back of her jerseys. She done them for the helmets for the Gaelic. You know what I mean? Because to go to a science shop and you do them, I used to do it all for them, but won't mention the individual, my sister. She does it, and then it was end up being doing it for the GAA club. But that's our hobby, is hobbies and crafts. So we got her one, and that's what she was doing. And you know, workers took over, but she was doing them for all the GAA clubs, and now she was putting the names on the back of the jerseys, her son's jerseys. So if you buy a Liverpool jersey or an Everton jersey, just to wind us up, it was like, you go to a shop and they'll impress her with the number on it. Now she was just doing it for her own kids.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And it was opening her eyes the way she could do it. The plan was for the club that she's in to kind of go, oh, we'll all get one. But then she stopped going because she work took over.
Right.
But it'll come back. It'll come back.
Do you do much with HTV? Do you do anything? Obviously, you've got printers, decutters. Do you do anything with heat presses?
I fixed a few of them. It's only electronics. Last week, I was taking down display units for a company that I deal with because the electrician wouldn't go near the cabinets because it was woodwork. The woodwork fella wouldn't go near the electrics. So
Your job is so varied.
I was asked to go in. I kind of went, oh, and he's like,
Yeah.
well, we're paying you, Deco, just go in. So we went down and took them all down. Do you know what I mean? And I was like, I was scratching my head to say, why would someone build this 9 foot high when there's a plinth in the wall and you can't even wheel it? Then when I had them kind of disassembled, I had to wedge them and take the wheels off them to fold them onto a pallet. And then they'd be shipped down to another unit. It's varied. Not one day is the same. It's not something I wanted to do, but they give me an awful lot of other work. It was like, can you just do it for us? Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I can't.
They'll remember you again then.
Huh?
They'll remember you again for other stuff.
Yeah,
so
but like a lot of my customers is I was in with one the other day, and I mentioned no names, but he has a couple of, say, Mccabe's. He has a roll, and he has 2 different models of laminators. He's a steel and Neod. He has a Muto machine. They have a big printer outside, and I do it all for him. And you're kind of going, he didn't want to be ringing, ring this company for that machine, this company for that machine. He asked, can you do them all? I said, yeah. So when I'm in there, I might have the idea that I'm going in for 2 hours. And 5 hours later, I appear outside the door. But that's what I do. That's how I get my pages. That's how we get paid. You know what I mean? I've employed other fellas to come in and help work. I send other fellas out on other jobs now because it's getting busy.
Yeah.
And it's good, you know what I mean? But it's like everything else. They pick the phone up. You're back to your thing that they want to talk to you. You don't want to talk. Can you get this done? Yeah, I have to be the go-to guy. If I can't, I'll point you in the right direction. If I haven't got a machine for you, well, I know where to go and get it. I don't sell a specific printer. I ask the customer, what would you like? And then it's my job to go and get them if I can. If not, I'll point them in the right direction. Comes to plotters or finishing equipment, yeah, I have them for you. And that's the way I work it.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You had a big plan of questions for Deck, didn't you? So we covered everything that you wanted to cover for Deck.
Yeah, we have.
Okay. So finally, let everybody know where you can find Wine Format Solutions.
I work from Dublin, cover the whole island of Ireland, and I've even been known to do jobs over in the UK. You can get us on www.wineformatsolutions.ie.
Excellent.
And talk to you soon.
Yeah, thanks very much, Deck.
Yeah,
no worries. Pleasure having you.
Cheers.
Yeah, pinnacle of my career. Drum roll.
Thanks for tuning in on today's Cutting Masters podcast. If you are listening on YouTube, don't forget to subscribe. Please do get involved by liking, commenting. I'll see you all next week.